Previously on the Data Factory.
The basics of database and SQL Server. Types of databases. Let's cover the basics of SQL Server. In this one, we prepare our systems before diving into practical sessions and the minimum requirements for us to install them. Let's have a look inside a typical SQL Server. So this is the first page. Now, how do you arrive to this page? I think simply if you search on Google SQL Server installation guide. So this is something that you will get as the first result from docs.microsoft.com. You go to this SQL Server installation guide. Once into this particular page, what we do is we scroll down and where is it? Okay, so this is SQL Server 2019. That's your 15th version. Once we are there, what you can do is you can use this particular link. Try SQL Server. Download SQL Server 2019. That's 15.x version from the evaluation center. Once we are into this particular page, so essentially this page is to distribute the software, that is SQL Server. Let us click on download the exe. So this is where Microsoft wants to capture some data of yours. Let me write it down. The data factory go at gmail.com. Company NA, country will be India, company size 1, job role NA, phone number is essential. Okay, where's India? Why am I not able to type search? I hope it doesn't ask me for any code. Okay, let me type in my number. Then we finally click on download now. Okay, I think it will not download by itself. We need to click on the 64-bit edition. Once the installer is downloaded, click and run it. Okay, so what it does is it asks you which edition do we want to install. Default configuration, select custom installation type, 2-step through the SQL Server installation wizard and choose which one do we want to install. We would go for custom, and this is the location. Let's click on install. Wait for a few seconds. I was anyways feeling dizzy. Now this will make me sleepy. I had biryani just a few minutes back. I think that's the reason. Anyway. Perfect. The download is successful. Next, what we need to do is okay, so this is the wizard. It has perfect. So we will install, choose the installation, and what we will then select is new SQL Server standalone installation or add-on or add features to an existing installation. Okay, the first one. Now perfect. So this is the step that's important for us to essentially choose which is the version that we would like to, not the version, rather the edition. Remember we had covered, right, in the initial session. So Express is a very kind of a limited edition, not much useful for our sessions that we intend to cover later on. Evaluation will be free for the first 180 day. We can do a lot with the developer edition. Let's click on next. I accept. Next. Perfect. Next. So here what it does is it is automatically checking for configuration, whether our computer is ready to accept SQL Server installation. Yeah, here it is. So it has kind of validated almost everything except the Windows firewall. So the firewall warning can be resolved at a later point in time. Post we are done with the installation, we will be covering it. Let's click on next. Okay, so in this particular step, what we can do is we can just select database engine services and leave out the other features as it is. Those are not required, and click on next. Perfect. So herein what the installation requires from us is it's asking whether it should be a default instance that it will be creating on our system or a named instance. So the default instance ID that it generates is MS SQL Server. Well, let me type in a named instance. So let it be tdf co underscore lab 01, and automatically the instance ID should be updated once we click outside. Okay, perfect. So see, what it has done is essentially it will be creating a directory within the Microsoft SQL Server that will be named as MS SQL 15 is the version .tdf co underscore lab 01. That is a named instance. Let me just again select default instance for you, and you'll see that by default it will take MS SQL Server as the name. See, now moving to named instance. Perfect. Let us click on next. Now, in case you are having this question as in what is the difference between a default instance and named instance, it's nothing but named instance can be used to put in a user defined name, simply put, and the instance ID inherits the same. Also, there are few other differences. Let me highlight them to you once we are done with the installation. Now, whenever we say instance, it's very important for us to understand that with every installation we get an instance, and with every instance we have a server on the same machine wherein we are installing. Now, why is a server needed, right? Now we need the SQL Server to host multiple databases. Let's move on to the next steps. So in this particular section of SQL configuration, you will see that every instance has a list of services. So the first here is referred to as SQL Server Agent. That is again used to manage, monitor, automate tasks within the database engine. Here the second you see is database engine, and you also have a SQL Server browser. So the browser is disabled, let it be. Leave the default settings as is because we will be installing SSMS. Okay, and you have all the services listed under service accounts. You also have something called collation. We will come back to cover what do they mean. Let us first proceed and complete the installation. Now, authentication is a very important concept, and in here what we need to do is we need to just add current user as an administrator and leave out the other settings as it is. Okay, then we click on next. So herein what it does is it basically summarizes what are the installation features that we have elected. Now it's fine for you to just review what are the things that you have chosen, but not that important. Let's quickly install. I hope it doesn't take too much time of ours. And once the installation is done, what we will do is we will circle back to understanding the type of instances that we had just mentioned, what are service account, authentication, etc., very briefly. And also one step that we had left out while installation was the firewall setting, for which I will definitely cover it right after again this installation is finished. Just bear with me for few seconds. Okay, so let us understand why do we need the firewall for. Okay, firewall configuration. Now firewall is an operating system component. In my case, it's a component that is there within the Windows OS, and it is basically configured to ensure secured access to the SQL Server that we have just installed. Okay, so everything is just complete. Now let's understand how do we complete the firewall configuration. Let's close this. Close this as well. Now within the search button, every Windows start has a search section here, right? Search, allow, app. Okay, so here we see allow an app through Windows Firewall. Once we click on that, what we need to do is we need to click on change settings. Okay, change settings and allow another app. So once I click allow another app, it asks me to add that app. Okay, now how do we do that? We need to browse, and essentially we need to go to the root installation directory, and for us it was, I think, pretty straightforward. It was SQL Server, wasn't it? Just a moment. So we are into C program files. Now here we should have Microsoft SQL Server. There it is. And this is our TDF Colab. Yeah, this is the instance that we have installed. Let us go into MS SQL folder, then bin, select SQL Server. This is an application which we need to add and allow. Open, add. So if you see, automatically this particular row is highlighted. That means this particular item represents SQL Server that we had selected. We also need to enable public access over here. Okay, and then the final step is to there's no apply etc. You need to just do an OK over here. Perfect. So with that, the installation is complete. In our next session, we will open up this Microsoft SQL Server, and also we will cover SSMS.